because life isn't about survival. It's not about productivity. Life is about connection. It's about deep connection to the essence of life. And I believe that when you are not walking that, your nervous system, your body, your spirit, however you want to see it, will wake you up and draw you in with pain. I got a chance to lay down on a table, and there was this very gentle contact on what's called the sacrotuberous ligament. There was this pause, this quiet moment, and this wave of emotion moved through my fascia, through my whole body. And I started to just involuntarily move my hips, and I knew something profound happened.
I'm kind of out there, I guess I will say, as far as my belief system on health. You know, I really value placebo-controlled studies. I like science, but I also know there's a lot of parts to that puzzle that cannot be tested into that arena. I mean, tell me right now, if you went to any hospital, could they test you for your gratitude, your health, your anger, your frustration? No, there's none of that, because those are certainly emotions. And in that is a whole system that can detract or add to our health and well-being. Today, I have a gentleman that I really had a interesting conversation with my daughter, Katie, and Dr. Dave from Tonal Spine. Welcome to Vital Health Radio.
Thanks, Ed. It's great to be here.
You do something different than almost anybody. I know that, you know, there's a couple other practitioners in town who feel the same belief system philosophically of, and I'm not even going to put words in your mouth, what are we talking about? Because the goal of what we're talking about is better life and health for individuals. What are you talking about, and how in the heck did you get into that?
Wow. You know, we live our lives through our nervous system, and we condition it, we design it, and oftentimes we get to a point in our life where we realize that it's not giving us the output that we would like to see in our lifetime. You know, people experience anxiety or chronic pain or all different types of illnesses. And a lot of people don't realize that the conditioning of the nervous system can limit you from that or optimize it. And it really comes down to how much energy and information your nervous system can process.
And that's you can't see that on a blood test.
No, you can.
Yeah. And I know, you know, in 46 years, I've seen a lot of people who almost are paralyzed in their life, and they don't have anything physiologically wrong. And many don't ever get better because this system sometimes needs assistance. And there's not many practitioners who understand what you've just said, and they certainly are very few who know how to, I guess, balance that system. So was there a turning point for you that gave you this epiphany, or what happened?
You know, there was definitely a series of events at the point in my life that I decided I wanted to be a chiropractor. It's because I wanted to be the change I want to see in the world, and chiropractic made a huge impact on me. And at that point, I was not exposed to network spinal care, which is what I do at Tonal Spine. And that I found that at chiropractic school. And the first time I found it was my very first quarter there. And to be honest, I thought it was a little bit odd. And I realized at that moment that there was something fascinating there, but I didn't understand enough about what chiropractic in general was doing to the nervous system. So I waited. And about a year later, in chiropractic school, we practice on each other. So I'd never had any hip issues. And at that point, I had a major hip issue. And I was seeing one specific doctor that was known and really well for doing the hip adjustments and trying to get better. And the most I could make was about 3 days without being in pain. And at that point, I decided to go back and check out this interesting and unique technique, network spinal care. And
it's called network spinal care.
Yeah,
okay.
Network spinal. And I listened to the doctor presenting at that seminar, and he really spoke a philosophy that I felt answered a lot of the questions that I was not hearing answered while I was in chiropractic school.
And we're not talking adjustments. Are we?
It is.
It
you could call it an adjustment. We refer to it as an entrainment because what we're doing is helping the nervous system find a place of coherence between all of the different parts so that the whole nervous system is operating together in concert together. And so this is some of the things that I heard that speaker talking about, and it spoke my language. I got a chance to lay down on a table, and there was this very gentle contact on what's called the sacrotuberous ligament, which is right at the bottom of the sacrum as it meets the sit bones. And there was this pause, this quiet moment, and this wave of emotion moved through my fascia, through my whole body. And I started to just involuntarily move my hips, and I knew something profound happened. And, you know, I'm also evaluating. I'm in chiropractic school. I'm learning what it is that I want to deliver. So I decided I'm not going to let anybody touch me until pain comes back. I want to see what happens. And so about 3 weeks later was when I realized that I was still out of pain. So that's when I really started to be under network spinal care.
How cool. Now, how much of this blockage is emotional blockage or trauma within the life of a person? Is there a lot of that?
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's where I fear for so many people who, I think as Americans, we run from a lot of darkness and a lot of fear, and we bottle it up and we shove it down. And I always say this, I've said this hundreds of times, we have a pretty big basket to hold that, and there's a point where it gets to the top. And when it does, symptoms start occurring, and that's why you dance around all the pharmaceuticals, even the nutraceuticals and the magic formulas, and nothing works, because there's a part of us that has to address this other part of trauma that is poisoning us.
That's right.
And real quickly, and I know I've read this many times, the amount of, and I don't think people have any idea how hard of a study it is to become a chiropractor. You have so many hours that are equal to a medical doc in so many categories. No, not surgery. No, not pharmaceuticals. But in so many areas, I wish that people understood that a good chiropractor is very skilled and also worked very hard to get to where you are. So many don't know that. And of course, the traditional medical model is never really clapping hands for you in most cases. So back to what you do. Explain a little bit further, like what would a patient expect? What would
Can I ask a question real quick? When you explain the network thing, what is it? Is it touching specific nerves? Is it, because this is a place I'm completely naive. Is it a rubbing? Is it a touch? What is it exactly? And then how does it work? If you don't mind, because I'm sure you have to answer this look at him smiling already. He's like, thank you for asking the question I get asked 400,000 times a day. So I'm interested because I've heard Katie talk about it, and she raves. And she's told me I need it, and I'm telling her she doesn't. She's wrong. But go ahead, sir. I'd like to hear what it is.
Yeah. So there's something called a non-specific stimulus. And really what that means is that, if you have something so gentle, maybe a sound, you open up, you lean forward. What is that, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing with a touch, something really gentle. See, this is what the state you want the nervous system in when you are trying to, or helping the nervous system to absorb and make an impact and really wake up to what it's doing. Mm-hmm. There needs to be safety. And so a very gentle contact can actually be way more impactful than a hard thrust. And so the nervous system, when there's this quiet little contact, and where we do these are on what we call spinal meningeal contact points, and it's essentially where nerves come out of the spine and meet fascia in that general location.
Okay.
And when that contact's made in that area, what's actually happening is something really beautiful. So when we have an experience, right, the experience isn't just emotional, it's not mental, it's not physical, it's just an experience. And in that experience, we have an emotional reaction, we have a consciousness of a perception, and then we have a physical reaction. And you can think about the physical as into the posture, and also it's the nature of like what a polygraph is. It's like every thought, every emotion, there's a change in the physiology of the body. So when I'm looking at that tension in the postural system, in the body, this is defense. Hey, how's it going? You're laying on my table, you doing good? Yeah, I'm great. Okay, well then why is all this defense in your body? And that's what Ed talked about earlier. This is the accumulation of unintegrated life traumas, life stresses. We all have it. And so when that contact is made, it wakes the brain up and reconnects the higher brain, not just the survival brain, but the higher brain to what's actually happening in the body.
I didn't know we had anything other than a survival brain. What are you talking about? Yeah.
You and a lot of people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it wakes that up, and that's when people have that deep breath that happens, and then the exhale. A lot of times there's an emotional reaction, because what's happening is the whole system's tone is changing. The consciousness, the emotion, and then the physical representation, they're all one thing. And all of that changes. All of that becomes integrated, coherent, and now that individual is having a present moment. They're no longer living through the stimulus of the past. And that's where the magic really is. Yeah.
Fear, destroys our health, and it's so locked into to almost everyone of some sort. You can't live without having some issues, traumas, heartbreaks, anger, angst that we process is fine, but we don't process it very well as Americans. We overwork it. I over-exercised it most of my life. That was my technique. Many of us drink too much, and of course, then it ends up you have to take pharmaceuticals to kind of manage your day, and none of that's reaching down to the ultimate real reasons of why it's happening. And because I've been doing this so long, I've been to Rev many times, which is a similar philosophy. I also go to a lady named Molly out in Trenton, and she also uses similar techniques. I have at times felt a shift, and I like the word shift very much because this word really is a strong word to me. I feel normal, and then somebody does your technique to me, and it's like, what in the world just happened? That's right. And I can be emotional. I know people who get, can throw up. I know people who cry for many, many, many minutes out of nowhere.
That's when someone told me that's when I asked. I said, so is it because I've had deep tissue, and Mackie's helped my shoulder, so I've cried with Mackie.
That's pain.
I guess that's my point though. When I associate tears and that kind of reaction, I'm associating with somebody's on that spot that I've had a lot of hurt to, and my pain. And so when she was telling me, I was like, so it's like a deep tissue? Like, no, it's just like slight touch. I'm like, what? And then I hear the second person say it, and then I hear Ed say it, and then I hear I'm a fourth person. I'm like, okay, that's why I'm glad you were here today, because I was like, I've got to figure this out. I got to understand how he does and manipulate. Because you said the word adjustment earlier, and he said it's not really an adjustment, and you smiled. It is an adjustment. It's just not the adjustment that how we've defined it, right?
That's right.
It's a bigger adjustment.
There's no bones cracking.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. And I feel that that's a benefit too, to have certainly chiropractic adjustments. I certainly do that once a week myself. Some of us at this table are scared to death of that. They've expressed that to me. His name is
I've got weak spots in my neck. Nobody's grabbing my neck and jerking on that thing, man. I can't turn it to the left. So I don't need to be.
You can't turn it to the left, but yet you don't want an adjustment.
No, because I don't want somebody to turn it to the left, force it, and it's snap, and then I'm eating, talking through a straw. I don't want that at all. I'm interested in this. How long have you been doing this technique?
So I've been doing this here in Chattanooga for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 9 years.
And responses through the roof? People are loving it.
Yes. 100%, yeah.
He's smiling. I'm like, darn, man, this is great.
So when you have a newbie, somebody just came into your office.
Yeah.
Do they have to talk about a lot of stuff, or can you sense the imbalances without a lot of discussion?
It doesn't take much.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. When you're in that chair a lot, and people wear it. You see it. And I can see people walking around town. I can see it very clearly.
Have you gotten better at asking questions?
very
but I mean, people that don't understand, that's a skill.
It's taken me a good while to get that skill, but absolutely.
How do you balance yourself?
Ooh, that's a great question. A lot of ways. One component of the work that I do, so I'm the only person that does network spinal care here. And it is very specific, and it does move through essentially a process of healing. And there is a program that the creator of it, Donnie Epstein, has mapped out called the 12 Stages of Healing, which is essentially using breath work, body position, perception, consciousness. Those things I mentioned earlier are all fused together, but it's a practice that you can do on your own. And so I rely on that a lot. It's basically each stage brings in the energy of that specific healing. Was it Einstein said you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it, right? Well, in this case, it's the same consciousness that you need in order to really access that energy of that emotion and to bring that forward into your being. And so I rely on that a lot. That's one of the things I do. I also meditate, lifelong meditator.
Yep, same here.
Yep.
Can one more question?
No,
Who would be, so he said you got a newbie. Let me kind of refine that, or maybe ask it a different way. Who's a good client for you? You know what I'm saying? Is it somebody that has hip pain? Is it somebody that has emotional pain? Is it yes to all above? They've tried, like when they come to you, who is the client that you see the most of and you go, I can really help that person?
So the first part of that, yes to all. Yeah. So it's all dysfunctions of an overwhelmed nervous system. Chronic pain, emotional pain, even things like anxiety, perception, motivation, depression, all of those things. The defining feature is really somebody that understands when they may not know it when they come in, but when I talk about the nervous system and the conditioning of your non-integrated life experiences, that's what the healing is. It's not just about the pain going away. The pain is here to interrupt your life so that you can really connect, because life isn't about survival. It's not about productivity. Life is about connection. It's about deep connection to the essence of life. And I believe that when you are not walking that, your nervous system, your body, your spirit, however you want to see it, will wake you up and draw you in with pain. So somebody that really recognizes that this is an opportunity to create a shift in their life.
I love that, because I really feel that pain is a knocking at the door, and most of us ignore it year after year after year. The knock gets louder, and finally, bad things start happening to the physical body and the emotional body. And then we turn in circles and chase ourselves like a dog chasing its tail to no avail. And I am so connected to exactly your philosophy. Do I still take my 62 vitamins a day? Yes. Do I go to the gym? Yes. All these are important things. Do I eat very healthy? Yes. Do I try to sleep better? All those are so important, but this emotional freezing within ourselves and neurological freezing, we can't overcome with a knife and fork. We have to do a practice. I think a practice is where it's at. So tell people, if they want to contact you, where you are, your website, and more information, please.
So my website is tonalspine.com.
Spelled.
Yep, Tonal. So like a musical tone. Tonalspine.com. So contacting me through that website is really the best way. You can also book your first consultation. The first part of that is always free. I want to make sure that you're in the right place, we're in alignment. So we're going to talk, I'm going to learn your history. That part is always free. And as long as we both agree that the next step forward is to do an exam, we scan the nervous system. So we look at how the nervous system's adapting. We have a computerized adaptation exam that we use. So we can actually scan, like in 3 different areas. How are we adapting? Like, your nervous system's not adapting in this area or this one. So we do that and give you great information for a good decision going forward. You can also call my call my office at 423-498-3330. And that's the 2 best ways.
Wonderful. I love it, because this will ring with people, I think, that have never heard it before, and it will make such good sense, and they may take steps forward. And I know one young girl who's going to take a step forward in about an hour, which is my daughter, will be coming to see you, I think, today.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, Dr. Dave, very much at Vital Health Radio.
Thank you for having me, Ed.
It is time to take a break. When we come back, we'll be having a lot more good notes to, again, empower yourself, that plus more, as we continue. For Clint Powell, Ed Jones, and stay with us.
You're listening to Vital Health Radio. More to come after these brief messages.